Welcome to Subramani. I was recently reading an article about how a company endures extremely long periods. So, in Japan, there are companies which have been doing business for 500 years, and there are some companies which can trace back to 1000 years. So, one of the preconditions, or for survival over such a long period of time, right? Endurance is what you're looking for, is having tons of cash and not having a debt. So it was quite intriguing. Morgan Housel has written about endurance, and he says, I expect to be around the world, in the world, for another 50 years. So in 50 years, what is the probability of me hitting any of these problems, war or recession, bear markets, or some family emergency? And he says it's 100%. Something is bound to go wrong in this period when this cash will be useful. That is the way to look at cash, not saying, oh, I'm getting only 4%, whereas the market is giving 20%, right? 4% is wrong, 20% is wrong. That is not the way to look at it. It's like when you buy life insurance, you don't look for ROI on life insurance. You look at life insurance as a protection for your family in case you're not around. So somebody like me, I don't need any more life insurance. My wife has enough money and my daughter is already earning. So do I need any life insurance? No. So to say that, oh, Subra does not have life insurance, so I also don't need. I'm 60 plus, if you're 32, you need life insurance, not because life insurance is going to give you a great ROI, right? If it's term insurance, it's a pure expense, and that's exactly what you should be having. So you look at cash also as an insurance, and therefore you look at debt very differently. So Morgan, of course, talks about these companies not having any debt. Of course, debt has its role in life. Some of the biggest fortunes in the world have been created with debt. I loved what Rakesh Jhunjhunwala once told me long ago about having debt. He said, this example is beautiful. If let's say you are on a salary of 20 lakhs on which you are able to live comfortably, pre-tax, post-tax, I'm not getting into that, and you are able to live very comfortably, and you have created a portfolio of assets, whatever it is, mostly equity or maybe some real estate, which gives you an annual income of about 3 lakhs. So his argument was, assuming that interest rates are about 10%, just for calculation, he says, then you should have a leverage of 30 lakhs, right? Immaterial of what is your net worth. Because on that 30 lakhs, 3 lakhs is interest. That interest you will be able to pay out of your income, which you don't need, right? You don't need the dividend income, you don't need the rental income, because you're earning 20 lakhs and you're able to live on that. So he said this is something called a comfortable leverage. I think that kind of comfortable leverage or responsible leverage, which is what some people like Mukesh Ambani, etc. do, is to say, okay, I will have enough leverage so that whenever I earn money, I will be able to take that money and repay the loan. For example, the telecom project, RCOM, Jio, would have been a 1.5 lakh crore project. So 1.5 lakh crore, putting your own money, it's a dream. It never happens. So you have to do responsible leverage. What I do is I don't have any leverage, because I think, like what Morgan Housel says, it means longevity is assured. There is no fear that if the market goes down, I'll be in trouble, I have to pay interest, I have to sell something. Now for somebody like Rakesh Jhunjhunwala, he was extra alert and very disciplined as far as his investing was concerned. So the minute he said, I said, what happens if the market falls? He said, no, I'm very sensitive. So because I have a leverage position, the minute I feel that the market is weak or some of the shares that I have is not strong, I just sell it off and repay the loan. So that if you have that quick, if you're that able to do that, and if you're good at it, you should do it. I'm not good at it. I'm anti debt, and I'm definitely anti debt for investing. Having debt because you have a medical emergency, having debt because you have some other problem is different. Having debt because you want to buy a house or a car is different. But borrowing and investing is not something which I like to do. I don't do, and there are many people who do. Current market market is extremely levered, right? A lot of people have taken a leverage position, and they are happy doing that. I'm not happy doing that. So I have zero leverage, and I will continue to have zero leverage. Now yesterday I met somebody who was trying to tell me that I should write covered calls. And he said, no, don't use that money for yourself, use that money for doing charity. Now this is a feel good thing. God, if I borrow money and I invest, I hope you don't make losses for me, because I'm giving it for charity. There is no such thing. God is not hearing such plea, right? So I am anti-leverage. So I have never borrowed to buy anything, not even my office or car, or never ever. So that is my view, but a lot of people do borrow. You have to take what is your view. But one thing for sure, when you leverage, you are you're subject to a lot of hassles. Like suppose you were leveraged and you bought 10 cars, and they were being used as Ola or Uber as taxis, or generally you were in the service industry where you had 10 taxis given out on hire. Just imagine what would have happened to you during COVID. You would have struggled, because the business is down, the leverage is still there, the banks did not waive off interest, and it's not the bank's business to waive off interest. If the government wanted your interest waived off, the government had to step in and say, okay, we will waive off the interest. Or the government had to step in and say, for cars we will give more depreciation, so you need not pay tax, or things like that. Nothing like that will ever happen, because you're still in a country like, say, India. You're still elite. You own 10 cars. All your 10 cars are out, but then 4 of your drivers have run away. They are not willing to come back and work with you, so your cars are idle. And for 4 years, 3 years, your cars idled. What would have happened to you if you had leverage? What would have happened to you if you did not have leverage, right? So if you had leverage and you had owned 1 car, and the other 9 cars were being financed by a bank, there is a very good chance that the bank would come and repossess your cars. So the longevity of your business depends on, can you endure such things, right? Can I endure a 10-year bear market if I am a big broker? Because as a big broker, I employ a lot of people, I have a lot of space, I have a lot of subscriptions to Bloomberg and subject and things like that. I have very expensive habits. Because I've been part of a big bull market. So last 10 years market has been a very bullish one, and if the market has gone down even during COVID, it is for a few months. So and those months my strategy is just go buy, double, triple, just double up, because the market will go up, and the market is actually obliged. With whatever nonsense I was saying, the market is actually obliged. So debt looks very good now in the market, where a lot of people have a leverage position. So you have a leverage position, market is booming, everything is looking good, you are paying 7%, 10%, let's say 10% return, 10% interest, you put money in small and mid cap, you are getting 24% return, you put in infrastructure, wherever you put, and you're getting 24% return. It looks like, oh my God, this is the way to go, right? Why would you even reduce your leverage? So somebody with 10 lakhs who has borrowed 5 lakhs and invested, what would be a good thing to do now? Maybe to reduce leverage. But then when you reduce leverage, your total overall income goes down. So that doesn't look very hot and sexy. So you need to do something. So people borrow and people invest. Nothing right or wrong. But like Morgan Housel says, the more you borrow and invest, or more you borrow and do business, the time available for you to do no business, or chances of you going down under because you have run out of money, or because you have to pay interest when your income has gone to zero, that reduces your endurance. Your ability to do business over long periods of time is impacted, and that actually impacts your head. So why would I not ever borrow? Is simply because I did not have a salary. My salaried friends could go and borrow and buy a house. I would be shit scared, because I've been marred or scarred by the 1992 to 2002, when the market did nothing. Market actually went, I think, from 4,200 to 3,000. So when you go through such phases, you realize that look, if I had debt at that point in time, it would have hurt me more. I would have had to sell some of my shares and pay off the debt. And when the market is in a longish recession, you have to sit tight over a longer period of time. So zero leverage helped me. Yes, my income fell 95% in 1993, but I did not have debt to pay, I did not have interest to pay, I did not have any of those things to worry about. I had a very small office with 2-3 people, so it didn't really hurt me. Yes, paying them salaries, you felt, oh my god, there's no business, but we're paying salaries. But salaries, you don't have too much of a choice. But debt for investing, to me, it's a no-no. Each person has to take his or her own call. So take your call on what you should do. For me, debt for investing is a no-no. And therefore, similarly, I found one guy who said, why don't you write covered calls? I can do covered calls. I can do a very responsible leverage, let's say 7-8 crore debt portfolio, debt, and to invest. All that is fine. But the question is, do I want to do it? Will that having to pay interest or having to constantly look at the market and feel, oh my god, the market is likely to go down, let me sell and repay the loan? Because when you have a leverage position, closing the position or at least partially closing the position, these are all things which you have to be more alert to than what I am today. So do I want to do it? No. You take your call. Thank you.